Welcome to the Pure American Podcast, the show where we cover what's happening in America, some trending topics, politically and culturally, and we hope that maybe us talking about them will get you thinking more about them. But with that being said, I'm your host, Fatty, with my other wonderful host, Redboy. Today is our 5th episode, and we appreciate y'all so much for the support you've been giving. We just made a TikTok account just to post clips on it, and it's already blowing up, man.
Yeah. 7,000 followers almost.
Yeah, man.
I want to say that shit's insane.
That's awesome.
In a fucking day.
Make sure, though, you are following us on there, on Twitter, Pure American Pod. You'll find a link to kind of like a link tree type deal where you can find everything us on Spotify. You can learn about us.
7,400 followers.
Okay.
Corrected. Hell yeah.
But yeah, make sure you follow us on Twitter so you don't miss an update. And if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, hit that bell notification, leave a like, or we've gotten our first couple dislikes, which is crazy.
No, it's a milestone.
There's no such thing as bad press, man.
We're almost real YouTubers. It's wild.
Yeah, but what I did find, speaking of YouTube, is that 65% of people watching our show are not subscribed. What do you think about that? Tristan?
Like dicks.
So, hey, man, if you're watching us and you like it, consider throwing a subscription,
I know that I shouted out on like my Instagram and then TikTok a lot, but you guys can watch it. You still got to subscribe to it.
Right. We're doing this for free, but like a subscription would be nice.
And then hit the notification button so that way you know when something new's posted, as long as you guys are enjoying the podcast.
Yeah. We're not forcing you to do anything, like I said. We're going to try and keep this show 100% free. But, with that being said, we're on our way to monetization on YouTube, which is nice. Through y'all support, you guys are awesome. You guys are the reason why we do this. We love doing it, and we're hoping that you guys love what we do. So, yeah, with that out of the way, for today's episode, let's move on to the topics. So, there's H.R. 1, which is an act called the For the People Act, and what we're going to find out is it's not actually for the people. It's hilarious how these names of these things are like, for the people, no glory for hate. Like, he's like, okay, equality. Yeah, no, it sounds good. It's the complete opposite of what it is.
Exactly.
We're also going to be talking about, the QAnon shaman. You remember the guy that was like in bison horns and tattooed and just like with a flag in his hand. Yeah. He's in jail, right? He's facing, I think, like 20 or so odd years in prison. He got interviewed on like a 60-minute thing. We're going to talk about that because people in the Twitter comments are insane. And we're going to match that same energy. You know what I mean? We're going to go through, we're going to read the Twitter replies on that and just point out how stupid people are. Also, today is March 5th, as of the posting of this recording, will be March 5th. It's March 4th, and don't say that we don't point out, idiots on the right side, because we do. We try our best to do both sides. Obviously, we both have right-leaning beliefs, but we still call out idiots on either side. It's March 4th. Biden's still president. So we're going to point out that one as well. Also,
where's Trump walking into the White House, y'all? That y'all swore was going to happen.
Right.
This isn't the Lincoln case.
Also, you are under attack now if you're white. An NYC public school principal sent something out to parents to reflect on their whiteness. It's so cringy, bro.
Is the principal even white?
Yeah. It was endorsed by the Department of Education too for New York.
Biggest case of white guilt I've ever seen.
Yeah, you'll see. It's the weirdest thing, bro. I have the scale and everything. Also, we got news on the $1,400 stimulus check. There's been some lowered income caps, and about 8 to 12 million people, according to some estimates, could lose the check. So, plus one. Also, the fact that it might not get here by the deadline when people are going to need it. So, well, let's get right into the show. So this For the People Act, right? H.R. 1. Huge bill. Like, if you want to go read it, be my guest. Just be prepared to absolutely jump off a bridge after you're done reading it, because I think it's one of the longest ones I've read so far for the show. Basically, what it's going to do is, like, completely destroy the election system we have here in America. And it's not perfect, right? The election system we have right now is nowhere near perfect, but it's pretty good. You know what I mean? I'd argue it's nice.
Oh, yeah.
So what will it do, right? Is it really for the people? And the short answer for that is absolutely not. It forces taxpayers to pay for campaigns for politicians, right? It has something called like the My Voice voucher. It gives out $25 from each taxpayer to qualified individuals. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and the thing is what makes them qualified? Obviously, that's deemed up to, I think, the government. And you can see where biases are going to come in for that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, every donation for it, it says it's from every donation from $1 to $200 will be matched by up to 600% by federal funding. What does federal funding mean? It means, again, you're going to be paying it with your tax money, regardless if you like who's the money's going to. So, like, if you're a Republican, right, and you're going to vote for a Republican, let's say a Democrat raises, $100 to $200 in donations. Let's say they get $1 or 600%. So essentially $600 worth of taxpayer money is going to be going to them, regardless if, like, your money's going to be going to them, regardless if you like them or not. And that goes for Democrat and Republican. You know what I mean? So, like, that's not good. That's not okay, I'd say. The point of a campaign trail, right, and campaigning is the politician or whoever's trying to run for some office or spot is like they're raising money. You know what I mean? They're out on the campaign trail raising money through private donations, people who are wanting to, donate, not through the federal government's help, right? It's one of the ways that they can actually be qualified to, well, be elected. You know what I mean? So it's interesting that's happening.
And to reiterate, when he said federal funding, a lot of people have this common misconception or stupidity that federal funding means it's the money that comes from the government. I'm in the military. We are federally funded. You guys, your taxes pay my salary.
Right.
That's something that a lot of people don't understand. That federal, like, being funded by the government does not mean that it's their own money. It's your money.
Right. Like, when people think, what do you mean? Like, how does the government get its money? Us, the taxpayer, is what gives the government money to spend on a bunch of different things.
That's why on your W-2, you have state taxes and federal taxes. Federal taxes is obviously the bigger one because that's what goes to the government, and then you get some of that money back. But you are funding every organization that's federally funded. And
so the other thing that this bill is, again, absolutely destroys the election process we have here in America. We've had the big problem with voter fraud. Claims of it, you know what I mean? The 2015 election, or 2016, whatever, the 2016 election when Donald Trump was elected, all the way up
to 16.
Yeah, all the way up to this most recent one, right? Claims, because everyone's like, oh, Republicans are saying they're sore losers, there's no voter fraud. Well, Democrats are saying the same thing back when Trump originally won, that there was voter fraud. So this will only make it worse. Is they're going to do same-day voter registration. If you don't know what that means you walk in and you have to register to vote right then you can vote. The bad part about this is it doesn't give people enough time to see if it's truthful. Like, is this person actually able to vote? Are they not a felon? Which, by the way, I think this raises or gets rid of the, like, you're not allowed to vote if you're a convicted felon thing too. I think I read that somewhere. I have to go back and recheck. I don't remember. I wouldn't be surprised if that's true.
So someone who got out on a sexual assault case, obviously they'd be felon, registered sex offender, they can walk in and vote because there'd be, like, no, I guess you could say background check.
Yeah, like, essentially,
there'd be no reassurance that he is able to vote.
Yeah, so, like, the same-day voter registration problem is it doesn't give you enough time to, like, the whole Steven Crowder situation where it's like, people are literally voting from abandoned lots. There's no way, you know what I mean? That's not a point of residence, they wouldn't give them enough time to check to see, is this an actual, valid location, or in the case of illegal immigration, are these people actually allowed to vote? Because, obviously Democrats love when illegal immigrants come in and vote blue because it'll win things by a landslide. You know what I mean? That's the same thing. It won't give basically I don't want to say the government, whatever the system is they use to check to see if it's valid or not, it will basically just completely eviscerate it and tear it apart. What's funny is, what the ACLU is, right, Tristan? Mm-hmm. Super far left group, if you don't know what it is. They wrote a letter about how they oppose this bill. So when the right and the left oppose the bill, that's a problem. I think that way, raised giant red flags, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just a right-wing conspiracy theorist. Right-wing, right-wing, whatever.
That's the problem. We can't, we have no say in it. It's up to the House. It's up to the Senate. They propose all these bills, which, if you guys are listening right now, a lot of Democrats and a lot of Republicans can come to an agreement on certain bills such as this that are just ridiculous.
Right.
And even though you have the majority from both sides saying, yeah, this is stupid, we still don't get a say on it. If it goes through the House, goes through the House. We can't do shit about it.
This is the most, at least I've seen, right, of House, of bills or potential bills or, actually being covered by media. I don't want to say that's the case, but recently, maybe it's just because we're doing this podcast, there's been a lot of these have been brought up to the forefront of media and attention. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
HR 127 was a big one. What was the one? The Equality Act is huge.
HR 5.
Yeah. All this stuff is like, it's a little concerning when that's the case, when it's getting that much coverage, because it's not, it's negative. You know what I mean? Also,
you don't hear any news stations like talking positive about them either. Like there are a couple news stations that will cover it, whether they are unbiased or biased, they will cover it. But I almost never hear that it is a good thing. Even social media news, just seeing it on Instagram. I wouldn't say TikTok because obviously there's not enough time to talk about that. Twitter is definitely a big one. Facebook. It makes me sound old. I still use Facebook, but
TikTok and Twitter are vying for the most mind-numbing echo chambers worth of people. Honestly, these days in terms of social media, that goes for both sides. Like, it's hilarious.
It's where all the idiots just coagulate.
It's a quagmire right there.
A great place.
It's a quagmire of super low IQ points and yes men.
That's why everyone has a problem with social media nowadays. Is because it doesn't matter what your age bracket is either. There is a group of citizens that are heavily influenced, and there are the group that's looking at everything they see on social media, and they're just like, "This is ridiculous."
Right.
I'm with that. I'm with that group.
Yeah.
If y'all are easily influenced, you should get the hell off of social media.
I'll see something where it's like, okay, you're making this claim. Is there validity to this claim? I don't know. I'm going to go research it and, make my own opinion on it and be like, okay, maybe a part of that claim is true. You know what I mean? Right or left. And a lot of it, I'm like, did you even read this? Or are you just, retweeting what LeBron James or somebody with a blue check mark put up? You know what I mean? And that's your truth. We're running into this dangerous time where instead of truth driving emotion, emotion is driving truth. Picture it like a train engine, right? Pulls the cars. The car should be emotion, right? And truth should be driving what your emotion is. Majority of the time, obviously. But now we're getting into this dangerous territory where your emotion is what's driving your truth, which is not good because that's easy to skew up facts and for people to come through and essentially make fake truths. You know what I mean? Falsities.
The thing that annoys me just severely is celebrities are easily influenced. Easily influenced. The most easily influenced people you'll ever meet in your life. But also, to add on to that, they have some of the biggest followings you'll ever see.
Right.
They put out that stuff because for some reason a lot of celebrities want to get into political matters when it's not their place of expertise. I mean, we're not experts either.
Right.
But they want to do that. They put something out on social media to millions of followers, and then that is another narrative that's being spread or false information.
Right. And I would encourage anybody, if you're right-leaning, don't just read Fox News. If you're left-leaning, don't just read CNN. Obviously, those are the two fringes. You know what I mean? When everyone thinks right media, they think Fox. Left media, they think CNN. I would encourage
those are biased.
Yeah, I'd encourage you to read everything, right? And then, for a bill, go to they're on Congress. Congress.gov. You can read these verbatim. Do that. You know what I mean? And then make your opinion on it. But anyway, back to HR 1. So it forces donations to campaigns kind of to be public. So groups are supposed to be, they'll have to tell who donated what. You know what I mean? Which is not good because it'll basically, what it's doing is you vote for the wrong person, your name's out there for the public, for everyone to know, and you can be scrutinized, fired from your job, basically just put down for what you believe to be right and who you're trying to throw your support behind. You know what I mean?
Cancel culture.
On
exactly. Severe fucking...
Yeah. So look, so I got this excerpt from the heritageaction.com. They do a pretty good job of breaking it down. So it goes, H.R. 1 goes completely off the rails and unconstitutionally increases government censorship over political campaigns, activity, and speech. Using a very vague standard, the bill regulates any speech that is deemed threatening to a federal candidate or election official, forces groups to publicly identify donors, regulates speech about legislative issues, regulates online political speech, forces groups to file reports with the Federal Election Commission when they sponsor political ads, impose burdensome disclaimer requirements for issue ads, and much more. So basically what that kind of means is if you, let's say you don't like a candidate, the left on Donald Trump, which we knew this probably wouldn't have happened, it'd be mostly for right-leaning people who try and bash left-leaning candidates, but let's say you don't like Donald Trump and you're just a freaking incel on Twitter and you type out like, F Donald Trump, he's horrible, this, and it's like, ideally what it's trying to say is you will be punished for that. Open free speech of like throwing your lot behind a certain candidate or saying, I don't like this candidate because of this. And this goes right and left. Supposedly you can be punished by that. Not good. Is it raining?
Yeah. Can you hear it?
Yeah. So we're all going to enjoy. No, you're fine. We're all going to enjoy. We're all going to enjoy the rain, the calming rain sounds in Colorado. Brought to you by Mr. Redboy Hickabilly.
I haven't seen rain since I've been here, honestly. This is wild.
Oh, the other big thing about this bill. So states draw congressional district lines, right? I think it's voted on, whatever. And like, so the state government can draw the lines for congressional candidates. You know what I mean? Because you'll see like, I'm a candidate for Congress for district whatever of Colorado. You know what I mean?
Hunger Games.
Yeah. This would basically completely destroy that, right? Like, destroy it completely. And basically, the federal government will do it for you, which is not good. That's not good. That's, for right and left, that's too much power for the federal government to have. I think where I'm at, and definitely I think Tristan is, a lot of the right-leaning people just kind of want the federal government out of our business. We know it's necessary.
We're anti-big government.
Yeah, I know it's necessary, but I want to be able to have my rights. Speak how I want to speak, live, again, by my constitutional rights, raise my kids how I want to raise them, and just go about my life. I don't want to, I don't want to hurt nobody. I mean no ill will towards anybody, but I have my beliefs. I want to be able to practice my beliefs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just basically we want small government because, like, with minimal oversee, because obviously the government impedes too much on people's personal privacy and everything like that. Right. Unless you're a pedophile, they should impede on your personal privacy. That's completely different. But they just intervene on things way too often. I do not know 100%. One person that is pro big government. I don't know what side they'd be on, in all honesty, left or right, but I do not know one person. I've never met one person for the longest time I've been doing politics that says, right, big government is good.
Right. So, moving on, right? We're going to talk some QAnon. First of all, QAnon, listen up. It's March 4th. Nothing happened. Stop saying stupid things. Me and Redboy are not afraid to bash the right. I don't care if you hate us for it. It's a stupid idea. A lot of this idea of, Trump's going to come back on March 4th. The election isn't over until March 4th. Comes from when Abraham Lincoln didn't give his inaugural speech, I think, until March 4th, or wasn't declared president until March 4th, I think 1861. Somebody fact check me in the comments for that. Anyway, the reason why that happened...
The way you
go ahead.
Newsflash, everyone. When you see this, it'll be the 5th. Trump's still not in fucking office, dumbass.
Yeah. Also, by the way, the reason why people think this is because you know how they collected votes back then? By freaking train and Pony Express. Like, you know how long that takes? Also, they have to hand count every single one. I think we've said this before in another episode.
Yeah, it was literally last episode.
You have to hand count every single vote, so it took a long time. We didn't have states where the train couldn't go to all these random, like, huts from settlers out in the West. You know what I mean? Like, you got to drop it off at your nearest postal station, and they got to take it Pony Express across the country. Like, yeah, it's going to take a long time. That's why that's there. Also, stop saying that Trump had control of the military till March 1st. Tristan, did Trump have control of the military till March 1st?
Nope. As soon as the change of command went through, not Department of Defense, Secretary of Defense, everyone that was under Biden directly, Chief of Staff, as soon as he was inaugurated, as soon as he came into office, everything switched. So all I gotta say is, if you don't know anything about how the military works, don't fucking talk about it.
For real. Speaking, go ahead.
because I was gonna say it's just like the right. So I don't know if you saw this. Actually, I saw this on Twitter and I saw this on TikTok. It's on the topic of Trump is still in control of the military, right?
Right.
People were trying to say he's the one that sent the bombs to Syria. I'm like, it created this big ass conflict that didn't need to be there. Like you can Google's free. You could have looked it up and said, "Huh, Trump is not in charge of the military right now."
Exactly,
that makes sense.
Bro. Exactly. Speaking, but I will. Okay, now we're done kind of bashing QAnon. I will speak kindly on their behalf. So the shaman for QAnon, if you don't know who that is, this guy that wore freaking like horns. He looked like I want to say a Native American, but he had the whole tribal thing going on. Even though he had, I think he had
American.
No, he had Norse tattoos. I'm pretty sure he had Mjolnir on the side though. That's kind of funny.
Someone interviewed him. He's like, "I am an extraterrestrial being." Yeah. I'm like, how many? I want what you're having.
So
like,
there was a 60 minutes. I think they call it 60 Minutes Plus. I don't know what that is. Whatever. It was ran by, if I can remember correctly, CBS this morning. Yeah, there it is. They put it up on their Twitter. Essentially, they interviewed him. It was funny, though, because the interview started out of, like, how could you do this or whatever. And I was like, bro, calm down. Like, pump the brakes a little bit. You're supposed to be unbiased and get his voice.
Did they interview him in jail?
Yeah, they did, like, a Skype call. So he's in jail. I kind of want to say essentially for trespassing in a way. Because, look, here's what I'm going to get at for this, right? First of all, Twitter is ruthless and have no idea what they're talking about. Also, if you're going to call what happened on January 6th a domestic terrorist attack, now look, I'm not saying what I think happened on January 6th was a good thing. I don't endorse that, honestly.
I don't.
But I will say this. If you're going to call that domestic terrorism, match that same energy for what happened over the summer, which literally falls under the U.S. Code's definition of domestic terrorism. If you don't know what that is, look it up. I encourage you, read it, and tell me that for some reason that doesn't fall in line, because I think it's like mass destruction,
intent to harm community or individuals,
threatens life, coercion through force, essentially. That's all that happened over the summer. So if you're going to call January 6th domestic terrorism, you better be sure to call what happened over the summer. Like I said, domestic terrorism. And if you want the FBI to investigate what happened on January 6th, you better believe that you should encourage them to investigate everything that happened over the summer. Because
and before people come into the comments saying, "Oh, well, that's very anti-American of you to go against January 6th," they did the right thing. They went to the government. They did it for the wrong reason, though.
I was going to get to that. This is hilarious to me, right? I would argue I know why everyone's hounding January 6th, especially politicians, is because they were pissing themselves. They went, so whether or not you think it was good or not, what happened January 6th, you can say at least they went straight to the source. You know what I mean?
But they should have gone to it with a completely different reason. I mean, getting mad over an election. How many people have gotten mad over elections in the past years? They're acting like it's the first time voter fraud has ever happened. Right. Why do you think Bush and Al Gore needed a recount?
Yeah. But yeah, no. So if you're going to demonize what happened January 6th, keep that same energy for over the summer. It's not hard. But I wanted to read some of the Twitter replies because they're absolutely stupid, retarded, whatever you want to call them. Try and cancel me for that. I don't care. All right. First of all, here we go. Riley Neal. She's a she's a House Representative, 63rd session for Montana. That's hilarious. I don't know if she's a state representative. Wait, no. She's in the federal government, I think. I don't know. She said the real question is who paid this actor then left him to rot in jail. I think I've said it before on the podcast. I know Tristan has, or at least if we haven't, we've said it to each other. I don't think there was paid actors. I think one person, they were all obviously angry. One person decided to run through the line and try to breach the Capitol. And, monkey see, monkey do. And a bunch of other people followed suit, right?
That's why you can't just say, like, oh, well, that's where the argument came in. It's like, everyone's like, oh, well, BLM started it. Or they'd say, Trumpies started it. But even when
Antifa.
Antifa. When it comes down to the principle, like me being a conservative,
right.
Even if Antifa started it,
yeah.
or whoever started it, people still followed. And you know who those people were? They were Republicans. They were conservatives. They saw that person going up first, and they all followed.
Yep.
You're not supposed to be a sheep. I know it's really hard in this time and age, but that makes you a sheep. You're see them do it, you follow. Like,
yeah, you're supposed to be better than that. You shouldn't have done that. But someone did reply. This was a reply. It says, giving him a voice, a platform to speak, is extremely disrespectful to the American people and the victims of January 6th, especially Officer Sicknick and his family. Surely there's other ways to improve your ratings other than subjecting people to this. Why glorify this man? I wanted to touch on this one because of the Officer Sicknick thing. This has just came out, by the way. Officer Sicknick did not die because he got bludgeoned in the head by a fire extinguisher. You want to know why I can say that? Because he texted his brother and some of his other family members and said he was in good shape and he only got pepper sprayed a couple times. Never once did he text and say that he got hit with a fire extinguisher. And he died, I think, a day after, right? But he was literally walking and he texted his brother, said, yeah, I'm in good shape. Literally says he was in good shape. So
did
we need to calm down with that.
An autopsy on him?
Yeah, I think they did. I don't think they found it. I think he died of a stroke. I don't know if it was. I don't know if it was complications of it, right? Because that's a lot of stress, dude. Regardless if you got hit with the head with a fire extinguisher or not, that's a lot of stress. But to say that he was directly killed because of it, no. When he again texted his family members that he wasn't, so I wouldn't use him in this example. What was the other? How many people died? That was only 2, right? Because then there was a lady got shot in the neck.
Yeah, she was on the side trying to breach the Capitol, and then I think a Marine or.
I thought it was Secret Service or Capitol Police put a bullet right through her neck. Somebody.
Yeah, because she was trying to get through the window. That's the window that they broke. Well, I mean, they broke multiple windows.
Right.
But the videos that you'd see on Twitter and everything.
She tried to hop through the top pane and just fell backwards.
Yeah, because they shot her. And then I think a Marine was also injured. I do not know if he died. I can fact check it.
Look up the body count real quick from that. See if you can find it. But I don't think a lot of people are going to be willing to call her a victim. Because she was on the pro-Trump mob. So, if you're willing to celebrate that victim, also, she messed around and found out. You know what I mean? Like, ultimately, I'm sorry, but...
you're trying to break into a Capitol building. Like, honestly, what's
the problem we're facing in America is right now is deplatforming. It's like, don't give this guy a platform. Why? Why not hear what is going on inside of his mind? Seriously, why not? Like, why would you not want to do that and figure out, try and, understand the other side of maybe what you believe to be true? You know what I mean? Go ahead.
So, deaths, 5 people, 4 rioters, 1 police officer, 1 police officer being, what was his name again? Sicknick, yeah. But it doesn't say anything about Sicknick.
So, all the other ones were rioters. I would highly doubt that a lot of these people on Twitter, these absolute morons, would side with the rioters and say, oh, I feel so sorry for their deaths. A lot of them would probably be like, they deserve to die. Don't believe me? Go look at Twitter. You know it'd be true. I know it's crazy. Everyone's like, oh, they're planning an attack on our nation. It's a domestic terrorist attack. No, at the end of the day, the people have the power in the United States, and they went right to where they should go. Again, was the motives a good reason to go? No, but that's when you go to protest, you want to protest against the government. I would argue you want to go to the Capitol. So, also, go ahead.
I was just going to read off the people that died. So, yeah, Cynic, they basically said he was beaten to death, even though it's a complete contradiction. Because
Sicknick. His name's Sicknick.
Oh, Sicknick, my bad.
Yeah.
Complete contradiction, though, because they said he died 2 days later.
Right.
Then you got Ashley Babbitt. That's the Air Force veteran that was shot and killed.
In the neck?
Yeah, in the neck. You got Kevin Greason, who suffered a heart attack. Roseanne Boyland.
Yeah.
Crushed a fellow rioters. She was apparently crushed to death.
Stomped. Golly. Trampled. There. Stomped out and trampled. How about that? That's
Benjamin Phillips. What does this say? Died of a stroke in Washington.
What? So some of these people probably just couldn't handle the stress because I'm pretty sure there were some older people there. Also, we have an obesity problem in the United States of America, so there's that little bit for you. I think it's hilarious. A lot of the people are like, these guys aren't going to get all locked up because they're white. I'm going to give you a spoiler alert for living in America. The majority of the people who live in America are white. What can you say? The majority of white people in America are not overly progressive. I'd make that argument. I think that's a fair argument to make.
It is.
If you look at the voting numbers by demographics, by race in America, it's hilarious, right? It's absolutely hilarious to me that people try and pull that white card. Congratulations, you live in a country that's majority white. Which, by the way, if you're being white, you're under attack for being white, which is hilarious. It's astoundingly retarded, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean these things are disgusting. Like, try to understand what he's doing. Also, I wonder what his charges are. Do you know what his charges are at all?
I can look him up real quick.
Wouldn't that essentially just be trespassing?
Oh, I think he's on a couple charges.
Yeah, I know, but
What was his name again?
I think his name's Jake Angeli. Jake Angeli.
Let's see.
No, Jacob Chansley. Sorry, I completely spelled his name wrong. Jacob Chansley. I don't know where I got.
I see it.
Yeah, and I can't believe people are upset about him speaking to 60 Minutes. Deplatforming is a dangerous ideology in our world, or in our society. We have the freedom of speech here in America. You can't deplatform someone just because they don't agree or agree with what you agree with. Yeah, that sounded horrible. Just because someone has a differing opinion than you doesn't mean they don't deserve the right to speech. You just don't have to listen to them. Sure, they might set up their soapbox in the middle of the town square. Doesn't mean you have to go gather around and listen to them. You just walk the other way. All you're doing by replying is giving better press. What's he under for?
I'm just reading through right now. It's not really, I haven't gotten to that part yet, but his lawyer, his last name's Watkins, says Watkins told the court that his client practices shamanism, and his request for an organic diet was born not of his faith, but in support of his faith. Apparently, he didn't eat for 4 days.
He's literally
problem.
He's literally a shaman. No, he identifies as a shaman because he was like singing and dressed up and doing like rituals or something.
Yeah, I don't know what a shaman really is.
It's kind of like a medicine man, I think. There's different meanings for different groups and tribes. It's kind of like the spirit. Well, it's kind of like the spiritual leader and healer of, I think, back in the day, or when there was tribes, or not. There still are. They're kind of like. I know a lot of voodoo stuff comes from shamans.
One of the most serious accuses he's facing is obstructing an official proceeding with corrupt intent. 2 other charges involve his unauthorized entrance into and disorderly conduct within a restricted building. It's kind of weird to me how you're not allowed in that building when you're the ones that voted people. That's just me, by the way. I'm not saying while they were in there was right, but I will say it's weird how you're not allowed inside the Capitol building. You're allowed inside the White House if y'all want to go see the White House.
Yeah, but only certain parts. Like you should be. I think you should be able to walk into a Capitol building. Now, obviously, if you have malintent or you have some bad intent to be in there, yeah, that's a problem. But if you want to go protest, not saying what they did was right, but if you want to go protest and go stand in the Capitol building, I think you should be allowed to do that.
I feel but you need to tell them, like, I'm here to protest. I don't have any weapons on me or anything.
I'm just here to peaceful protest.
You'll get, like, Osama bin Laden's cousin walking in that motherfucker.
Right.
Like, yep.
That's not a good idea. So I think a lot of people have this misconstrued ideology of what went down, and right and left of why it happened and how it happened. You can say Trump incited violence. I would say that's not true because clearly he said to protest peacefully and patriotically. It is so ironic, however, that they edited that out during his impeachment trial in a horrible fashion too, by the way. It wasn't even close. Like, it was such a bad jump cut. A 5th grader could have edited that better. I've seen some Fortnite and Roblox videos on TikToks that have been edited better. But, here we are. The government can't edit. Also, he put up something on Twitter saying, hey, go home. And then he put up a video on Twitter and said, hey, go home. But, nobody saw that. Why? Because they banned his account. Of course, right when he posts something like that. It's crazy. Insane, right? Absolutely crazy. It's hilarious to me. Like, I can't believe you hate a man that much. And not saying I like everything Trump did, because I clearly don't. Tristan, you don't like everything he did or does?
Fuck no.
Yeah. But you hate a man that much and let him live rent-free in your head that much. It's crazy to me. There's still people on social media making content off the man. The dude's been out of office for how long now? Like, come on, people.
It's like last episode.
Move on.
We said it's an obsession. That's all people are obsessed with Trump, even though he is out.
Trumpism is literally an ideology that's not only big on the right, it's huge on the left still, too.
He's probably going to run in 2024.
That's
going to be a trip.
Dude's going to be old.
Oh,
I think it's absolutely hilarious. You know what I mean? But so when we come back, because we are been, there's been a lot of open hate against white people, especially because of this. This didn't exactly help race relations, the January 6th thing, which is, again, stupid to me because you live in a majority white country. When we come back, we're going to be talking about why being white's a bad thing, apparently, and why a New York City public school principal thinks, parents should reflect on it.
And why you should feel bad for the color of your skin that you can't control.
So we'll be right back on that after this ad. Hey everybody, it's Fatty. I'm here to come in and thank our sponsors real quick for today's episode. Our sponsor for today's episode is Anchor. If you don't know what Anchor is, it's a free service to use to produce and edit your podcast. They got an awesome, clean site that is perfect for anybody that wants to get started podcasting. They're 100% free, and they're what me and Redboy use for our podcast. My personal favorite thing about Anchor is they will distribute your podcast to almost anywhere you can listen to podcasts. That includes Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. Did I mention it's free? I mean, I love free stuff. I'm a college student, so anything I can get for free is awesome. They also let you monetize your podcast with no minimum listener requirements. So if you have an idea for a podcast that you want to record, do it. Go ahead and go to anchor.fm, that's anchor.fm, or download their free app. The app lets you edit and record your podcast on the go. I mean, that's pretty sweet. Look, I won't ever give you an ad for something that I personally don't use or enjoy. So let me tell you, I use and enjoy this service very much. So get out there, let the world know what your ideas are, what your opinions are, and I'll see you on Anchor. Now, back to the episode. So, my fellow white Americans, and only half of Tristan can listen to this. So cover one ear. No. So the NYC public school principal, he essentially sent and told parents to reflect on their whiteness. So Principal Mark Fetterman, he sent a survey to these white parents. By the way, his school's majority Hispanic too, so it's hilarious. Essentially, the 8 white identities. Also, the Department of Education that covers whatever his school encouraged it to get rid of white supremacy culture. What is white supremacy culture? Do you mean living in a country that is majority white? You can't help you see white people every day because the majority of the country is white. It's not hard. Anyway, I have the 8 white identities right here. We're going to read through them and have a good laugh because they are retarded. So let's get right into it. Get into it if I can find it. All right,
Clearly marked white society. That's the first one.
Let's read, shall we? This is by a guy named, or whatever, somebody, I don't know if it's a guy or girl, Barner Hess. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the last name. I'm pretty sure, from what I've read about him or her, they are some form of a professor on, like, black studies or something like that. I think out of Northwestern. We're just handing out fake degrees everywhere, I guess. I'd say the same thing if they were a professor on whiteness. It's a fake. It shouldn't be a degree, just like gender studies.
You should not earn money off of it.
There's literally no applicable. Well, I guess you can apply it to something in life because we have this stupid list. Here we go. Shall I read? Unfortunately, there is a regime of whiteness, and there are action-oriented white identities. People who identify with whiteness are one of these. It's about time we build an ethnography of whiteness. I don't know how to read that. I'm slow. Since white people have been the ones writing about and governing others. Yeah, you live in a white country. It shouldn't be a surprise. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, the majority of the police force, the majority of the working class, the majority of people who have jobs, the majority of people who run the country are going to be what the majority race is in the country. It's shocker.
That's why it's called the majority and the minority. Majority being the major portion, minority being the minor portion.
Anyway, so we have the 8 white identities here. The one that he sent out, I'm pretty sure, was almost looked like a speedometer with a right and a left and a needle. Green being good, red being bad, and I think all the way number 8 is green, all the way number 1 is blatantly red, right? So that's the demographic or the kind of graphic he sent out. So white supremacist is number 1, clearly marked white society that preserves, names, and values white superiority. I think everyone would say, yeah, white supremacy is bad, just like I'd say black supremacy is bad, Hispanic supremacy is bad. Any idea that puts a race over any other race is a bad idea. It shouldn't be celebrated. Clearly. I don't understand why that's so hard to believe.
No one can even really argue with that. If you argue with that, then you're the problem.
Because people get tripped up between supremacy and just a clear majority. You know what I mean? There's white voyeurism. Wouldn't challenge a white supremacist. Desires non-whiteness because it's interesting, pleasurable. Seeks to control the consumption and appropriation of non-whiteness. Fascination with culture. Example, consuming black culture without the burden of blackness. What? Okay. This is where you start to get into some absolute idiots of idiotic ideas. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
You aren't allowed to listen to rap music because
I can't eat rap.
A cultural style of music, according to just
I can't
society.
I can wear Jordans because Nike was founded by a white guy. Score one for the white guys. I can't still use Apple's founded by a white guy. I can play Xbox and use Microsoft because it's founded by a white guy. All right. I'm supposed to take on the burden of black culture when I'm eating barbecue from a black business. Like, why? I'm from Memphis. We have some absolute banging barbecue. I should not have to sit there while I'm enjoying. Like, man, I gotta think about where this comes from and the problems with this. Like, no, bro. Like, I'm gonna eat my plate. I'm fat. I want my food because it tastes good. I don't care who makes it as long as it's good. I don't care who makes a product as long as it's a good product. I'm not going to judge a business off strictly because I saw a video on TikTok that was like this. I was like, I'm not going to. The guy was like, I'm going to, where's all the conservatives about, supporting black businesses? I don't care who runs the business. I don't care who made the product. If the product or service is good, you're going to get my business through it. You're going to get my money. I don't care what the race is. I don't walk into like no. I was going to say Popeyes. I don't walk into I don't know. Like, if I walk down to, in Memphis, a barbecue place, and it's run by, there's a wing spot called Ching's, Fire Wings. I'm not going to walk in there and see that it's run by a majority black crew and say, I'm not eating here. No, I'm going to eat it because it's good. I don't care who's behind the counter. I don't. And I think I would argue and believe that the majority of people in this country would say the same thing because it just doesn't matter and it shouldn't matter.
I just think it's funny how it mentions the consuming black culture without the burden of blackness. So,
what even does that mean?
Any white person that has dreads, and yes, a lot of people aren't going to like to hear this. Dreads is a hairstyle. You don't fucking own it. You can't gatekeep it. But if you're white and you have dreads, you're apparently oppressed. Just letting y'all know. Make sure to pull that card.
Yeah, oh my goodness, it's so dumb. Cause so you can't consume any form of black culture. So, what's the burden of blackness mean? Honestly, I think it's like you just listen and bumping to what was it? When everyone was bumping Mo Bamba, you know what I mean?
By Sheck West.
By Sheck West. Instead of jumping up and enjoying it, we should have been sitting there and thinking about how hard it is to be a black person in America.
You should have gotten down on one knee and put your right fist in the air.
You're so racist. I can't believe you didn't do that. You should be ashamed of yourself for enjoying such a good song. That was an absolute banger.
Your pain. I am with you. Like, what? No one's thinking that, dude. I mean,
you go to a rap concert and Lil Wayne walks out, Young Dolph walks out, all white people in the crowd just taking the just yes.
It's like, dude,
yes.
I was still in high school when that song came out, so we were partying it up. Every time we went to a party, if that song came on, the whole entire house got hyped. No one was thinking oppression. No one was thinking that. No, you don't get 5 beers in you and then go down on one knee.
Right.
Unless you're really shitty at a marriage proposal.
Dude, no, but that's literally what this telling you, what white voyeurism is, or at least how it explains it, is if you're not a white savior, you're basically, it's like that whole situation of when you were in high school or grade school, whatever. I don't know why I said grade school, but elementary school, middle school, high school, junior high, whatever you had, they were told you the bystander's just as bad as the bully. This is what it's getting at. You know what I mean?
This shit is just this whole entire bill, like you just said, if you're not a white savior, you're a white supremacist, you're a racist. When the majority of the people that I know that are people of color hate white saviors. That is the common denominator. Everyone hates white saviors. You should not get offended for someone else.
Yeah, and it's
especially you're not the same race.
A lot of people say you wouldn't challenge a white supremacist. I'd argue a lot of people haven't met a white supremacist because it's not exactly a huge ideology. The media and the left will try to convince you that white supremacy is this giant ideology, that
It's
the KKK
dying.
is in its prime. It is dying. The last remnants of it, which by the way are in the Northeast, hilariously, a majority white area.
Back in Texas, I'm from a small town. You don't fucking see that anywhere.
Yeah, like for those of y'all that don't know, the majority of the America's black population lives in the South. The southern United States. So a lot of those, like the KKK headquarters and a lot of their like last remaining remnants, a lot of them are in the Northeast, where it's majority white, high dollar areas.
Well, even West Coast, because I grew
Blue,
up
by
in
the
Oregon.
way, and blue voting states,
Yeah.
which is hilarious.
I grew up in Oregon. There is
Yeah.
a lot of white supremacists, especially where I'm from. Like, I lived out in the boonies. There is
Right.
a lot of white supremacists out there.
Oh yeah. So moving on, white privilege may critique supremacy, but a deep investment in questions of fairness and equality under the normalization of whiteness and the white rule, sworn goal of diversity. Is this? Hold on. No, wait. Hold on. May critique supremacy. So you think that white supremacy is bad whenever you're asked about the question, hey, is white supremacy bad? Yeah, it's a horrible thing. Would you challenge a white supremacist? Yeah, I don't like those type of people who think that way. But you have a deep investment in questions of fairness and equality under the normalization of whiteness and the white rule. So what I'm defining here, what I'm reading, I'm guessing based off of how this is written and the context it's used, you question what's the idea of fairness and equality. It's arguing what today's idea of equality is, because we all know what today's idea of equality is. It's really putting down or turning your backs on the masses and putting minorities on a podium. That's not equality, and that's never a smart thing to do. Is when you put your country's masses on the back burner. I'm not saying hold up the masses over the minorities, but you got to try and pay equal attention to each, or you're going to have the issue that we have now. I don't know. It sound right? You know what I mean? Oh yeah, the sworn goal of diversity. Basically, if you think it should be diverse, you're an idiot.
Wait. I'm gonna read number 4.
Oh yeah, we're getting there. They just get worse and worse.
Oh my.
Go ahead and read it. Can you read it?
Yeah, number 4, white benefit. Sympathetic to a set of issues, but only privately. Won't speak, act in solidarity publicly because benefiting through whiteness in public. Some POCs are in this category as well.
Those POCs would be those right-leaning minority groups that everyone calls Uncle Toms or race sellouts.
So if you don't, yeah, me.
50% of you, remember? Only 50% of you.
50% of me is a racist, you know?
Yeah, you're fine.
But fucking, so it's basically saying you won't speak or act in public. You're a racist? Is that what I'm reading? Am I
sympathetic to a set of issues, but only privately?
White benefit.
What does that even? So if you're not constantly trying to go about your day, right? So what does this mean? You're not 24/7 talking about how bad it is to be white and how bad white privilege is. You know, i.e., you're just trying to go about your day. You're not really thinking about that. You might work a 9-to-5 job, and you're only thinking about, working, getting through your job, getting through your tasks for the day, and the only time you think about what's going on socially in our country is when you get back home and you flip on the news. And then when you see that, it means every time, I think it means you should speak out any chance you get. So go on to Instagram, start a live, say being white's bad, end it there. Boom, you did it publicly.
It's like I'm half minority and half white, I guess you could say. Half the time or half of my life, I'm not walking around saying, you know what, half of me is a terrible person.
Right.
I am the oppressor. It's like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then you might know, what if some POCs are in this category as well? So you think it's just straight Uncle Tom's, right-leaning, that type
I think
of
it's
stuff?
what people would call, like, whitewashed. You know what I mean? What they would deem to be whitewash. So, like, if there's a video of a black girl, I remember on TikTok, that kind of went semi-viral. She was in class with her classmates, and she was the only black girl in the video. And everyone's like, oh, she's whitewashed or something like this because of what she was wearing, right? Or they would definitely throw Candace Owens.
Oh, yeah.
What's his face? Joel Patrick, they would throw them in that category. That's what they probably mean, POCs. Anyone who agrees or is right-leaning or says, like, calm down, it's not that bad to be black. We just need to work hard. Like, those people are the ones that are going to throw in that category. You benefit
It's
from
like-
being white.
It's like you see everyone calling people whitewashed on social media, and I'm not going to say the news because that never comes up in the news, but on social media, people that are telling people of color that they're whitewashed are always white.
Yeah.
There are, I mean, yeah, props to you. You probably know what the fuck
white
whitewashed
liberal.
is. Yeah, it's the white liberal. But like, I
Can
know
you-
people that went through it, went through the system, are from the hood,
Right.
and they are Republican. Go up to them and tell them, I cannot speak. Go up to them and tell them that they're fucking whitewashed. I guarantee you're gonna get the shit slapped out of you.
You know what's the funniest thing? So we're getting, first of all, this is kind of now like, again, imagine this like speedometer deal. We're in the middle right now. We're starting to get into what you should be. What is deemed should by this doctrine is good. What you should be doing. So this is like that midway point. You know what I always found funny though, right? Not funny. I've always thought about it. It's interesting to me. What is it like going through your day-to-day life, trying to check your privilege, check your speech, your thoughts, consistently putting yourself down because you're white, the white savior complex, the white liberal? Like, that's got to be so tiring. Like, there's no way that's enjoyable. Yeah, there's no way that's enjoyable.
That's what it is. It's just like if you're going through your whole entire
such
life
a-
thinking, "Oh, I'm a terrible person."
Yeah.
My ancestors, key fucking word, my ancestors oppressed the African American population or the Asian or Hispanic population.
Yeah.
It's not you. It's the same thing like I preach.
Yeah.
Your ancestors, if you are black, your ancestors were slaves to this country. You were not.
It's just, yeah, you never pick cotton. Just like just like I have never owned slaves. We shouldn't let what our ancestors do drive how we feel today. Also, I think it's funny. Like, I don't see in all this POC stuff, right? It's typically like black Hispanics, like marginalized people of color. You never see Asians brought up into it. Or, sorry, Oriental people. By the way, that's a bad word now.
Oriental?
Yeah, you know what? If you don't know what Oriental means, so when you say Asian, I know what everyone thinks when people say Asian. You think of Tristan or 50% of Tristan. That's what you think when you think Asian. Asians are white too, because part of Russia and some of the Slavic states are in Asia, or Slavic countries are in Asia. Yeah, Indians are technically Asian. So when people say Oriental, they mean East Asian, which is what you typically think of, like Japan, China, Vietnam, all these people. Yeah, Korea, all the people what you typically think Asian. That's what you think of. You never see them thrown in there with oppressed groups, do you? Indians or East Asians.
The only time that, like, recently is obviously, other than the railroad or World War II after the bombing of Pearl Harbor. I mean, yeah, Asians have been facing a lot more
recently
recently
because of COVID.
Due to COVID.
Right.
That is a completely different topic, and that's completely idiotic, not acceptable. But, I mean, yeah, we are not grouped in with quote-unquote oppressed people. And it's kind of the stigma where people are just like, oh, well, Asians are smart, or Asians create a lot of things. I mean, there's stereotypes.
Same with Indians, they're hardworking. You want to know why, in all honesty? I think, and you can tell me if this is right or not, I believe because in the majority of traditional Oriental or East Asian households, there's not a whole lot of deadbeat parents. Unless, you get more into Americanization of things, because we have a horrible idea of the nuclear family. We're seeing the total destruction of the nuclear family right now. There's clear goals, and they demand excellence from their kids.
Which is not bad. A lot of people think that, like, Asian
sometimes it can go
parents
overboard.
Oh, well, yeah, but wanting your kids to do well there's nothing wrong with it. A lot of people frown on Asian parents and their teachings, the way that they teach their kids. I mean, the whole stereotype. Only A, no B.
Why you no doctor?
Why you no doctor? It's like, it's not bad to set goals for your own kids.
Right.
That's not controlling them. That's leading them in the right way. Not be like, yeah, brother, you can go work at a fucking Jiffy Lube.
Right. That's the thing, honestly, I feel like is one of the reasons why I think Asians are some of the top earners in America, so are Indians. You want to know why? Is again, because they have a two-parent household.
Because they become a doctor.
a mother and a father who expect high goals from them, they still, like, again, yeah, there's the stereotype of you not doctor, you failure to family. Like, obviously, there's probably some out there, just like there's some absolute, like, trash white parents, and you know what I mean, and the stereotypical deadbeat black parent. There's obviously, and the Mexican parents who have 357 kids, right? So there's all these stereotypes. There's obviously truth to some of these stereotypes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think generally, like I said, like the reason why you don't see those specifically, in my opinion, people of color, minorities thrown in here, is because they just have good families. They have solid family, like centered lives, and it's the last remaining solid nuclear family I feel like you see in America, which is sad. But you can obviously see it works. They're all the top earners.
It's like really weird related. This is kind of off topic. Well, I mean, I guess it is on topic. But like when I think about some of my family members, because obviously my family was split. It was my dad was white, my mom was Chinese, Korean, Hawaiian.
Right.
And so when I look at the full like families in. Cannot speak correctly. I'm trying to comprehend myself what I'm saying. I'm fucking retarded. but like my cousins who have both Asian parents, whether they're Chinese or Korean, like their parents, they fight, but it's not Americanized where you get in one fight and divorce. It's like, I don't know. It's just really weird comparing the two.
Yeah, the other
I mean, it makes sense to compare them. It just feels weird.
The other thing that you see a lot of nuclear families, the last remaining, we're getting a little bit off topic, but this is a topic I've always wanted to talk about, is religious households. Well, let me go back further. Households that typically have Christian morals or Muslim morals. So like your traditional one God households. So like, let's see here. Yeah, Christian households, Muslims, Judaism. There's also obviously like Hinduism because they teach you certain values,
Buddhism.
but a lot of those people don't get married.
Yeah,
if you think about it, that's that's like the solo life though sometimes. But like you don't see, you know what I mean? Typically speaking, you don't see a bunch of Christians running off. You know what I mean? Real traditional Christians. A lot of people call themselves Christians these days because it's so easy to call yourself a Christian and you don't have to live by a certain... You're not held to a high standard.
You know, you got Christians, you got real Christians, and then you got progressives.
Right.
Progressives is the problem.
Yeah.
Or like, I'm not even that religious, but still.
Yeah. But no, yeah. So those are the destruction of the nuclear family outside of in a secular worldview, which is a very dangerous worldview in my opinion if you're trying to creep around morality, because whether or not you believe in a God or not, or a religion or not, you need to live by some moral code. And those people who don't live by moral codes are the reason why we have so many problems in America today. You know what I mean? Again, going back to Indian and East Asian people, they have very strict moral codes. Strict moral codes. You know what I mean? So there's that. Anyway, so let's get back on the list as to what we should be if we're white, how we should be acting.
Number 5.
The white confessional. So we're starting to go now. We're out of the middle. We're starting to go more to the right. We're going to the right direction. Some exposure of whiteness takes place. So you're exposed to yourself for being white because the idea of whiteness and being white's bad is what this is portraying, by the way. And I'm not jumping to a conclusion. Literally, what else does exposure of whiteness mean? So you're still somehow taking in some benefit and privilege, but you understand you are, right? But that's just natural because you're white, right?
I'm still confused on like what their definition of whiteness is.
You don't have to worry about it.
Population.
You're only 50%. You shouldn't have to worry about it. Well, yeah, actually, you're double privileged. You should be a doctor, and you also should be taking in privilege because you're half white. So like you should be able to rake in.
50% of me is worrying about it.
no, but 50% of you should be okay when you get pulled over by the cops. You know what I mean? You should not only should you be making a 6-figure salary, you should also be able to walk up to a cop and yell at them and be rude to them, and you'll be fine because you're white.
Well, I'm the oddball because
you're
I'm
the
making
exception.
a 2-figure salary.
You're the exception, not the rule. No, so yeah, their definition of whiteness has got to be just what it is to be white, and all these other things that come before. If you're white, you automatically have privilege and benefits compared to other people.
That just leaves it so subjective. Like anything that you see, you can see a white person litter on the street. You're just like, yep,
let me say this. I don't believe in white privilege. I believe in a majority privilege and tribalism. Let me explain. Tribalism is something along the lines of you kind of identify and feel more comfortable around people of like, well, your tribe or your beliefs or your race. You know what I mean? Like, again, look at how communities are divided up in our nation. You know, there's a lot of white people who live together. There's a lot of black people who live together. There's a lot of Asian people who live together. There's a lot of people, Indian people, Mexican people, you name it, Hispanic areas. Yeah, that's how that works. Majority privilege, I wouldn't say goes as far as, it kind of tribalism kind of ties into majority privilege. So what I mean by that is any country you go, right, whatever racial majority or belief kind of runs a lot of the stuff because they're the majority. For example, go to Africa. You know what I mean? What's the majority of their government ran by? Black people, even in South Africa, right? You know what I mean? Asia, clearly. Europe, it just works around the world. It's not hard. Where the Hispanic community lives and resides, same thing. That's what I mean by majority. And I do agree that stuff does exist. Are there slights that are thrown to the majorities in country? Yeah. Or not slights. I was about to say. Little like, what's it called? You know what I'm trying to say. Slides, like, you know, like benefit them more. Yeah, but that's just, again, that kind of feeds into tribalism. You're more comfortable around people that are similar to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I do believe in that. I do not believe in the all-out white privilege just because you're white, you're better off in society. I don't believe in that whatsoever. I think that's a lie.
That's a big generalization of just all white people. It's like
it's really an excuse to be lazy, honestly.
Honestly, yeah, it is.
It's like I don't want to work, and the only reason I'm so down bad in life right now is because the white man. No, it's because you don't want to work. You know what I mean? I think Hispanic people are like the best example of this. Like the ones that come here legally, even like the illegal ones that come here, they work hard, dude. They don't work. They don't have a lot of money. You know what I mean? They work hard.
And they'll work for less. That's why you might lose your job to someone that will. In fact, I shouldn't say might. Most likely, you will lose your job to someone that works harder.
Yeah.
For less.
That and I feel like unemployment benefits. Like I remember working one of my summer job. Obviously, I work blue collar jobs because I like it. I like being active. You know what I mean? I can't see myself sitting behind a desk pushing a pencil. Ironically, as I sit behind a desk making this podcast. Anyway.
Hey, if this blows up, then that's what we're gonna be doing.
One of my coworkers was like, it's crazy because it was either his neighbor or his cousin was saying how he's making more money sitting on the couch collecting unemployment benefits and welfare checks than he was working at his job, making more than we were doing. So combine that with just being able to throw how bad your life is, all those excuses under the umbrella of white privilege, and you have an extremely lazy society.
It's like there are certain situations where collecting unemployment is completely fine, but I mean, if you look at it now, states are putting a shorter cap on their unemployment. You know, you can only get unemployment for like 6 months. I'm on my way out of the military. While I'm going to school, I'm going to be collecting my unemployment. Obviously, my school's only 3 months for lineman school. I'm be collecting unemployment because the school is from, I think, 7 till 5.
Yeah.
Me doing night classes is not feasible. There are certain situations where that's okay, but just trying to hold it out for up to a year and just collect the money, because in some places, you're making $800 a week.
Yeah.
Like, that's $3,200. I'm pretty sure in most places, unemployment's also tax-free.
Right. I'm pretty sure it is too.
Yeah. So you're making $3,200 a week. I mean, my bad, not a week, a month. And in Colorado, ours is $600, but because of COVID, we get another fucking $400 onto it. We're making $1,000 a week. It's ridiculous. I get why some people want to do it, but that just portrays that you're lazy.
Oh yeah, and the back half of this, the white confessional, right? So exposure to some whiteness takes place, but as a way of being accountable to POC. Basically, you're being exposed to your whiteness just in order to say, again, the meme of I see you and I hear you. I'm going to use what I've learned now for being white to essentially apologize and be accountable for my whiteness and my fellow white people's actions to people of color. Again, we're getting into this should be celebrated. This is what we should push for. This is what you should be doing if you're white, right? This is what this is saying, right? We're on that side of the scale. You should be seeking validation from people of color. Life tip: don't ever seek validation from anybody, no matter their race, creed, religion, whatever, what they believe. You should not be actively seeking validation for people from anybody.
Trust me, your life will be a lot better if you're not trying to seek validation from people.
The more you care about what people think about you or how your public image is, unless you know your life or your way, your profession depends on you to have a good public image, right? The more you care about what people think about you, the worse off you're going to be in life. The more anxious you're going to be, the more times you're going to worry, the more times you're going to be stressed, depressed because of what your image is. I just rhymed there, bro.
So something that I want to bring up, kind of like an example, think back to high school, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
If you think back to high school, you got all those people trying to seek validation from the popular people to be popular in the school. Meanwhile, all the nerds and dweebs that were people would talk shit about,
Right.
they were happy with their lives. I mean, yeah, some of them, actually quite a few of them got bullied, but in general, they were happy. They didn't let anything bother them really because they weren't seeking validation from people that were on the higher tier on the high school like social scale.
And you'll come up empty-handed every time when you seek validation, because you might get validation from one person, but you'll never be good enough to to be liked and validated by everyone. Also, when you're doing something like this in the sense of race, right, when you're forcing people to seek validation of people in color, it's not going to be genuine. It's not. People are going to be doing it just because it says, they're supposed to be. It's not going to be a genuine respect or a genuine, like caring or kindness towards somebody. It's going to be like, just because I'm white, I need to seek validation. That's fake.
People of color don't want you to seek validation. Like, in a form, I guess a very...
It makes you look weak, honestly.
And from person to person, it makes you look pathetic. And some people take it as disrespectful.
Upchurch said it best. Why should we have to bend, I'm not going to get it all right, but I'm going to paraphrase. Basically, you make black people or you make people of color look weak, like they can't do anything on their own. Like they need you to come in and swoop in and play white savior and say, oh, it's fine, let's get it. We need to change everything for you to be the black man. Like they can't do anything on their own.
I've never seen a person of color, see a white savior and be like, thank you. Most of them are like, shut the fuck up.
If you are looking for a white savior or someone to bend the knee to you, I don't care what race you are, you're lazy. You are the laziest human being ever. I don't care what race you are. I don't care. Moving on to what you should be. White critical. Take on board critiques of whiteness and invest in marking the white regime. Refuses to be complicit with the regime. Whiteness speaking back to whiteness. White savior complex, basically. You should be able to take on board critiques of whiteness. Basically, you should let people be mean to you or say you're garbage because you're white. And you should just take that saying, yep, you're right. Yes, yes, yes. So you're so right. Yes, I am garbage. Yes, throw
you.
This is the the analogy I'm going to use is what was the things called? Where they put in medieval times where they put people in their heads and then their arms through it. You know what I'm saying?
Guillotine?
No, not the guillotine. It's like the stock thing. Whatever. You know what I'm talking about. And they chuck tomatoes and fruits at you.
Oh, yeah.
And they leave you out there like that for
I thought you were talking about cutting someone's head off. I was like,
this
what
is
are you getting
this
at?
is voluntary, signing up to be stoned. Is you should be willing to take absolute hatred because you're white, and you should agree with it.
Someone could come up to you and tell you, just you're white, you're an oppressor. I mean, you see them all the time. And people are just well, not all the time, but I've seen it quite a few times, especially within this last election, where people were wishing death on white people. So someone comes up to you and says, you know what? Fuck you. You're white. Kill yourself. That's
you should critique. Be like, yes.
You should keep that in mind.
Like, yes, yes, you're so right. Yes, I am garbage. I am worth nothing. Yes. Yes, you sound like... I don't want anybody like that around me, regardless of what your race is. If you're willing to accept criticism on that basis, you're weak.
If I see you in public being a white savior or just acting that way, I know what we're talking about is kind of an exaggeration, but anything in the... I don't even know what to say to it.
This
anything
is also,
within that boundary... If you're in public, I'm going to call you out on it. I'm going to tell you that you're fucking retarded and you need to go back home, live in your mom's basement, and check yourself.
The other thing, too, right, which says whiteness speaking back to whiteness, they're trying to divide you. People who hate what your color of skin is, and then people who are... I am proud to be the color of skin I am, because I'm a Christian. I believe God created me the way I am for a reason.
You shouldn't feel regret for being white.
I feel comfortable in being white. I'm white for a reason. I was born white. I can't change it. I'm proud of it.
This isn't a video game. Before you're born, you don't make your character. Like,
yeah. You just like if you're black or you're born black or Asian's born 50 or Asian, Tristan's born 50-50 because no one could decide to flip a coin. I guess God just said screw it. We'll land it on the seam. No,
it lands straight up. It's like, yep. That's
you should be proud of whatever skin you're born or however you're born. That's body positivity, by the way. Not being fat. That's a whole nother conversation. But you should be proud of whatever color skin you are. Take pride in that's what you are. You shouldn't be hated because of it, and you definitely shouldn't be hated because of it just from someone else in your own race. You know how sad that is? You know how weak of a person that you have to be willing to accept this list and turn around and criticize members of your fellow race just because you decided to be a puss and not be okay with your race.
Another thing, this is just some advice to people watching. So, like, I would say personally, just for me, because I'm doing it too, get in touch with like your culture or study your culture or just look some shit up. I mean, right. I'm Hawaiian. That's the one culture that I'm trying to like understand. I'd love to learn Hawaiian.
Right.
But that is a hard language to learn. Study or look at your own culture. It's really nice to kind of like get in touch with your own culture if you're a POC, minority, whatever it is.
Even if you're white, because white people come from all different types. Like I'm Norse. Like my culture's awesome.
I can tell the beard.
Shut up.
But yeah, get in touch with your culture. And now that I said that, don't take that as I'm gonna get in touch with my culture and use it to, my benefit. No, don't do that. Just study your own culture. Get to know your ancestors. Just a piece of advice.
Good or bad.
Good or bad. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean, if your ancestors Hitler, don't idolize it. But.
You don't hear a lot of Adolfs running around anymore. There's not a lot of people named that anymore. Okay, now this is where it gets really.
My buddy named his dog Adolf.
There's a lot of the young Dolph's first name is Adolf. That's funny. Anyway,
is it?
Yeah, it's ADOLPH though. Anyway, now we're getting into the super cringe.
Homework, just change it up a little bit.
Now moving on to the absolute cringiest of the cringy. The white traitor. Literally asking you to be a traitor to your own race. Actively refuses complicity, names what's going on. Intention is to subvert white authority and tell the truth at whatever cost. Need them to dismantle institutions. Basically, if it's white, kill it. If it's a white-owned business, get rid of it. If it's a white-run government, dismantle it. If it's a white corporation, we'll see you later. It's white. Everyone requested me to say this. Gone forever. Aaron Hernandez, gone forever. Basically, if it's white, get rid of it. Actively turn against people of your own skin color. Yeah.
If you guys like Target, I've been seeing a lot of TikToks of females saying that they like going to Target for no fucking reason. You can't shop there anymore because it's racist.
Do you know what's hilarious? First of all, you know how much time it's going to take? Again, welcome to America. Guess what the racial majority is? It's white. You can't get around that fact. That's a lot of time you got to put in to get rid of everything. Also, if you got rid of everything that was a white, you would effectively destroy the nation. Entirely. Because whether you like it or not, white people founded the country. They might not have been the first ones here.
Well, they did found it.
But, yeah, the United States of America was founded by white guys. It's just a fact. If you don't like that fact, it sucks. Because nobody cares.
You can't change history.
Yeah, no, you literally can't.
May not have been the first people here. In fact, I know we were not the first people here. But, I mean, we don't go over discovering land anymore.
Yeah. No. You don't go over the fact that imperialism was a thing. And at every race and every country and every society back then did it. Get over it. White people were just good at conquering. It happens. But there were also Asian people that were good at conquering. Attila the Hun was freaking magnificent. The Persians, the Assyrians. Yeah, you can't help the fact that white people were just good at conquering, man. It happens.
I mean, hell, Japan was one of the most powerful nations in the world.
Yeah.
They just kept to their island.
Yeah, no, think about it, man. It just happens. Also, if those white people didn't conquer and spread, you wouldn't be living in America now, would you?
We love communism.
So this is literally asking you to actively throw hatred and destroy things that are brought about because of your race. This hurts my brain. Now, number 8, the most cringy of the cringy. White abolitionist. I would not use that word right there. That's just me.
That is not proper.
Changing institution, dismantling whiteness, and not allowing whiteness to reassert itself. You cannot get rid of something just because of... You can't dismantle something that's rooted itself so deep in a country like that. You also can't get rid of something that is literally a skin color. You can't get rid of people being white. It won't happen. Just like you can't get rid of people for being black. It's not going to happen because people were born that way. Do you not understand? I don't understand. It hurts my head. It really does. My brain is going at 300 miles an hour in every different direction.
What this guy's proposing, because this is what was sent out, he's proposing that, we already said it, I'm going to say it again. He's proposing that white supremacy is very well alive in our community, in our country.
It is
like
not.
Zach said, it's dying. It is not alive. It will go away. I mean, yeah, obviously white supremacy is never allowed. Nazism is never allowed, or not, well,
any form of supremacy is unacceptable.
It's like, changing institutions. What do you mean by that, quote unquote, white institutions?
Right.
Like, what was their definition of a white institution? Are you talking about fucking Walmart?
You talking about the police force? You talking about the government? Because go to any other country where it's not white people, guess what? It'll be a black institution. It'll be a Hispanic institution. It'll be an Eastern Asian institution. It'll be an Indian institution. You can't change that. Like, that's due to the demographics. If you don't like it, go back to the country that you're from or that your origins are from.
It's majority
It's that simple.
wide.
If you don't like it here because it's majority white, go to Africa where it's majority black. Go to Mexico where it's majority Mexican or
Go
brown.
to China. That
Yeah,
place
go
is
back.
massive.
Go back to Eastern Asia if you're Asian. But you won't because you know those places suck. It's crazy to me how many people poop on America or just say F America or America's terrible. And it's like, okay, then leave. If you don't like it here, you won't leave.
What's sickening is that it's all these people within America that are saying this, but then you have people, like, think about the protests in, what was it? Was it in Japan?
Hong Kong?
No, yeah, Hong Kong. And all these people were, like, praising America,
Right.
the freedoms that we have, yet we have people within our country trash-talking us, trash-talking the military, trash-talking our laws, trash-talking our freedom. Look, I know it's not a stereotype. You're tired of people saying this shit, but if you're gonna trash-talk America, go to a third world country. I'm just gonna say that. Just fucking go. I guarantee you'll be coming back, but make sure to renounce your citizenship before you go.
Yeah. You want to know something why I know America's great and why at the end of the day you complaining about it doesn't match up what the rest of the world thinks about it? First of all, the rest of the world's sitting there laughing at us because our politics are so screwed right now. But you want to know how I know America's the greatest nation? I personally think illegal immigration is bad, right? I want to secure our borders. But
all for legal immigration. All for legal.
Shouldn't it tell you something that people are literally selling themselves and like are totally down with having drugs sewn into their stomachs or smuggle, you know what I mean, willing to pay all their life savings just to be smuggled to America? Shouldn't that tell you something about the country we have, the opportunity that you have, the opportunity that you are taking for granted and just sitting there bitching and complaining about something that's not really a real problem in the rest of the world, and the rest of the world laughs at you because of it? America is quite literally the greatest country in the world. You know what's funny, too, is a lot of these other countries that they're naming, like Sweden, right, or Iceland or Switzerland, it's like, oh, all these countries are great, or, you know, any other country that's doing good that they'll name, mostly for socialism. It's a majority white, first of all, hold on, let me backtrack. Sweden's not socialist. There was a video explaining it. Anyway, all these countries that they say we need to be like, you know what I mean, these peaceful countries, everyone gets along. You know what the demographics of those countries are? Majority one race. I would pay you to find a black person in Iceland or Sweden or Switzerland. I would pay you to find a white person in Eastern Asia. Like, all these other countries don't have these big of problems because there's not that big of diversity. Everyone gets along because everyone relatively thinks the same. You know what I mean? There's not all these different cultures clashing in one spot.
That relates directly back to when you said that the majority of Black Americans live in the South. They don't care about culture.
Right.
Okay, let's be honest. The South is its own fucking culture.
Yeah, we're Southern, bro.
If you drink unsweet tea, you're ridiculed.
You're a communist.
And
You're
yeah,
a
unless you
communist.
have diabetes, that's the only exception. No, I don't not.
Just
know
don't
one
even drink
person
it.
that
No,
likes
just
that
don't even
shit.
drink unsweet tea. I don't know why people drink that for fun.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. But it's like, take the South for an example. They don't care if you're black, white, Asian, Hispanic. Nobody cares. You live there. It's a community. I mean, yeah, you're gonna run into the racists here and there, but that's everywhere. You're gonna run into people who are stereotypical, people that are prejudiced. But still, the majority of the community doesn't give a fuck. I think we should take like other countries as an example, because there are many countries who don't care what like race you are or where you come from. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot that do.
Right.
But we should take that for an example, because I mean, with this new woke generation, everything is based off of race.
Does
he
England
doesn't like you because you're black. He doesn't like you because you're Hispanic.
I'm trying to think what other countries have diversity like this. I know England is close. Did they use? Think about it. We use the terms African American, right, or Mexican American. Yeah. Do they use African, British African, or they just call themselves British or English?
I think they just call them British.
Yeah. Like that's another problem too. I believe
if you are British watching this, let us know if we're wrong. But I've talked to a couple people, and I'm pretty sure they just call them British.
The only time they get mad at you is whether or not if you call them British and they're English, because I think there's a difference between being English and being British. Anyway.
Well, yeah, Britain and England.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, like I think we're the only country that does like the African. I might be wrong on this, but we do like the African American or just the white American, or like at the end of the day, we should just be American. And I think that's another problem.
Tries to push, and then everyone's just like, "Well, not everyone's American." So
it's like, yes, you are. You're a citizen here. You are. By the way, a lot of the African American population have been out. Their families have been out of Africa for so long. Just call yourself Americans. Like a true African American is someone who has immigrated here.
That's why we got to take like other countries as an example when it comes to this situation, right?
Right.
If you were born here, there shouldn't be no African American, Asian American, Hispanic American. You are just American. If you immigrate from obviously another country, then yes, African American, Asian American, Hispanic American. If you're born here, you're literally American. There shouldn't be this.
The only time you should bring up like your heritage is when someone asks what your heritage is. It's like, I'm African. My heritage is not white. My heritage is Norse.
My heritage is Polynesian.
I don't go around calling myself a Norse American. That's stupid. I'm just an American, just like my black friends are just Americans, just like you're just an American. You know what I mean?
I don't walk around saying, yeah, I'm a poly-American.
Right.
No.
Right.
I'm not an Asian American. I'm not a poly-American. Whether you think I'm white passing, brother, I'm just American.
Yeah. I think the label is stupid, in my opinion. And a lot of people are like, oh, you're just discrediting us, and you're pushing down their values of being a person of color and being an American. No, bro, you're just American. We all should be just American. The more you keep talking about racism, the more you keep dividing people up with labels, the less that the worse that the relationship's gonna be.
We're canceling the wrong shit. After this whole discussion, I'm just like, we are canceling shit.
We got rid of Aunt Jemima. There's no black lady on the syrup now.
The cop dog on Paw Patrol.
Well, no, listen. America's whiter than ever, right?
Yeah.
I will agree with that, but it's not right-wingers' fault that it is. It's the white saviors it's the problem. They're the reason we're whiter than ever, if you think about it. They canceled Aunt Jemima, who was a black lady on a syrup bubble. By the way, some of the best syrup ever. You canceled my Aunt Jem. I hate you. Land O'Lakes, they took the Native American girl off of the butter. America is whiter than ever. You know what didn't get touched? Were white things. The Vikings didn't get canceled. That's culture appropriation just as much as, the Washington Redskins? That's just as much as culture appropriation. No one cares because they're white. Or at least in America.
At least in America.
Exactly. Like
if you want to flip the script, and I know y'all hate saying or y'all hate hearing, well, if the roles were flipped. No, if you think about it, if you want to take America as a whole their ideology. Let's just say we move it to China,
Right.
and the Vikings were in China, and white people had the right to get mad over the Vikings. It'd most likely get canceled.
Yeah. America is whiter than ever. And it's not because of white supremacy. It's because of this white savior complex that people have. That because minorities are represented in life and products here in America, that it's bad. And that you need to get rid of them. Yes, there are bad, representations of them, for sure.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Don't get me wrong. But canceling a lady off of a syrup bottle, taking a Native American girl off of butter, getting rid of a football team, which, by the way, was designed by the actual Navajo Nation...
Posting black squares on Instagram.
You're making America whiter than ever. And it's not because of white supremacy. It's because that you have this mission to somehow make essentially people of color out that they're weak because they can't do anything on their own. We have to swoop in and help them. Oh, I know I'm a terrible person because I'm white. Look, I promise you I'll help you. Look, let us do this. All right? No, you're weak. You obviously can't do anything for yourself. That's literally what it's like to a person of color.
Another way to see it, as you're making America as white as ever, you're literally taking cultural things off of day-to-day items.
Yeah.
I mean, in this instance, food.
Right.
A football team. You're literally making it so cultural people...
Yeah.
Oh, I just burped. That was... Cultural people are soon probably not going to be on objects,
right,
such as food bottles, anything.
How
I
long
don't
do
even
they
know
take-
how to word it because it's just so stupid that you
How long
guys
till they
are
take, like-
erasing the cultures.
How long till they take like the Hispanic people off of like Mexican food? Because that's cultural appropriation. You know what I mean? It's hilarious. First of all, let me explain the whole Redskin
Next thing
thing.
you know, you aren't going to be able to be bilingual if you're white because that's cultural appropriation. Like,
Even though there's other languages out there besides English that have white origin.
mm-hmm.
Let me explain something.
You ever
With the
chanting pagan?
The whole Redskin situation. A Redskin's a warrior, right? It's so in my heritage, I'm Norse. We had something called Ufenar. I probably butchered that. That's a berserker. Those are the guys that you would think of that run on the beach wearing nothing but like wolf skin and double axes, right? In Viking culture. It's like the highest of the high warriors. It's a high honor. These guys are insane. They get pumped up. They go fight. They're some of the best warriors. A Redskin was that in Native American times. There's a warrior.
We had the triad.
Yeah, and
I'm
you
just
had
kidding. That's an organized crime family. But
you have to get rid of, and like you cancel, like I said, then you cancel this, something that they designed. Literally, the chief, I'm pretty sure, drew the logo, or the son of the chief was like, "Why is it getting canceled?" And I think he was something like, "Yeah, I guess it's not appropriate," because he was like, "I don't want to deal with this. I don't want the Washington football team. Shut up. I mean, they weren't good anyway, but man."
I was opening up the NFL lab during football season. I was like, once it like first happened, like once this new season started up, I was like, why does it say football team?
Yeah,
like oh,
like, and if you're gonna do that, keep that same energy with the Vikings because you're just culturally appropriating my culture.
It's
but I don't care.
Yeah, and I guarantee you they don't care either. You know why?
Because it's cool to see
you're
Vikings.
white.
Yeah, it's cool to see Viking culture still alive and well.
I love seeing those videos. I see them on YouTube and I see them on like TikTok mainly, of people who are just like embracing their I cannot speak. Embracing their culture.
Right.
And that's awesome. And then you see people in the comments are just like, "This isn't cultural. You're white." I'm like, dude, they're literally living in like a Viking town, and that's how they live. A lot of these people in those little towns that they have, I don't know where they're at. But
Are you talking about here in America? Or?
No, not in America. They're
in Iceland
countries.
and stuff? Yeah, no.
Yeah.
In Scandinavian areas, which is like, again, where all the Vikings were, there's still all these tiny fishing villages that still...
And people
Iceland's
embrace
population...
that culture.
Yeah.
It's like they don't even... Like, they live there. They don't go and work at a gas station to make extra money. A lot of them make the shit that helps them survive.
Yeah. Iceland's population as a country, I'm pretty sure, is less than, like, the population of, like, Chicago. I think it's only 300-something thousand. Yeah. But, so we're kind of getting off track. But you get what we're saying. This attack on white people for being white is stupid. It's dumb and it makes no sense. And honestly, all you're going to do, and I've been preaching it since day one, is you're going to create actual white supremacists, because people don't like to be put down for things they can't control, and people surely do not like to be put down for the color of their skin. We know this throughout history, right? Mm-hmm. All you're going to do is create actual hatred. People are going to get super defensive. Diversity. Yeah, people are going to get super defensive. People are going to literally sit there and be like, no, you know what? No, I'm white. I'm proud of it. Screw you. Let me show you why it's good to be white. Or why, same thing can happen when you're black or Hispanic. Supremacy on either side is not good, but it's born through what's happening right now.
The problem that I have with people is just, and this is the last thing I got to say, is just that in America, the hatred towards white people, everyone just focuses on white people in America. They don't think about white people who might be the minority in other countries. They just think, okay, like literally, they don't think abstract.
They think white Americans. Yeah, you're right.
They think white Americans. And then when you want to bring up the argument, it's just like, okay, what about white Christians that get killed overseas?
Right.
What about white people in just other countries that experience racism and prejudice?
South Africa.
They're just like, well, they're not in America. So you only care about oppression when it's in America. You don't worry about oppression when it's in other countries, because I know the Asians will experience oppression in countries that they're not from.
Right.
Same as white people, same as black people.
Exactly.
You don't see them speaking out against the oppression that they're facing. It's only the oppression that those people face within our country. But then again, these people want to go out and say, oh, well, we should fight for Iran. We should fight for whatever country because, they're not as well off as we are. It's like, dude, pick a side. Are you stupid or idiotic? I know they're kind of correlating, but pick one.
Personally, I'm America first. I care about America first.
Yeah, I'm America first.
I don't want us to have a global agenda. We need to focus on us first.
Oh yeah,
before
definitely.
We start worrying about the world. Let the world do them. Are we the world police or are we not the world police? And we need to decide. I think we shouldn't be.
Yeah, but we're kind of putting ourselves in that situation.
Speaking of America first and problems we're having here, our final segment. We've spent a lot of this time on race because me and Tristan both hate this whole racial problem we're having in America because we both view it as stupid. It's simple. It's a waste of time. So, but speaking of problems we're having in America, right? We told you a couple episodes back about this $1,400 stimulus package that supposedly would be able to get 22 million Americans through the mid-March through March all the way up to July.
You remember all those false promises y'all voted in? Here's another one.
So, first of all, they changed the cap for the $1,400 stimulus package, like at what earning brackets can get what. This change, there's a couple new estimates out there ranging from 8 million to 12 million people won't get their stimulus checks. They're getting cut basically from it. And there's a lot of arguing, surprise, surprise, within the Democratic Party because they can never decide on anything. Well, I shouldn't say that. And neither political side can. The Democrats can't seem to decide on anything, and the chances of it coming out before March 14th, which is when a lot, I think, the employment benefits run out, is very slim. So, not only will somehow the $1,400 that you were supposed to get to help you with all the bills and rent, no way.
That really wouldn't help that much if you're out of work.
Yeah, somehow, not only now are you just not going to get it, there's also going to be, or if you do get it, it's going to be late. There's also going to be somewhere between 8 to 12 million people that just aren't going to get it, that probably need it.
So just anticipate your bills stacking up.
Yeah. Yeah, because, instead of pushing out stimulus checks, we decided to bomb Syria. Good one, Joe. Great job. I'm so proud of our government. It makes me so happy.
It's just
definitely doesn't make me angry at all. No.
Yeah, I'm suburb. I'm completely fine.
I love it. Honestly, the only reason I go on Twitter anymore these days is 1, for content, 2, to see the amount of people who say I regret voting for Joe Biden, because there are so many of them.
We love to see it. I mean, honestly, after this election, I highly doubt anyone's gonna vote blue.
It's a big. Big red pilling for America. It really is.
It's a big awakening. I mean, I'm not gonna say that they're gonna vote red for the rest of their life, obviously, but after this election, next election, There's if Biden runs again, there's no way he's winning.
I view it as
no way unless he unfucks himself.
Yeah, I view it as like that whole like everyone voted for Obama. He did semi-okay his first term. He's all right. It wasn't great at all. But that second term, after that second term, I was like, all right, we need to get him out. We need a change of the guard. And we did. And we got Trump. And we did really well. I don't like how Trump handled himself, but I would be lying if I say our economy wasn't fantastic. I would be lying if I say under the Trump administration, the unemployment wasn't low. You know what I mean? Like, it's true. And
People
if you
just
don't
want to deny it. That's
Yeah.
the thing. It's just like
we're in the like the way we're going checking off the list of we're about to have probably some of the worst economic stuff going on in our nation in a long time here. You know what I mean? The hashtag stock market crash was trending on Twitter, even though it kind of rebounded really fast.
GameStop to the moon, bro.
Yeah, so
last week.
we're in for an interesting 4 years. We're going to try and stay with you guys for the 4 years. I'm sorry if this episode was incredibly long and that racial thing was incredibly long, but like I said, it's something we're incredibly passionate about. With that being said, I think that about does it for us. So make sure you follow us on all our socials. You know you're going to want to, right?
Oh, wait, actually.
Oh, yeah, wait,
what? Going
what?
to make it a little bit longer. So y'all know the vegan teacher, right?
Oh, yeah, before we go.
Before we go, so I'm going to make a video on my TikTok if y'all want to see it. So the vegan teacher, if you don't remember, I guarantee you do remember, she is this vegan or animal activist that is completely against meat. And she got canceled. I'm pretty sure she got canceled by Ethan Trace.
She got banned because she was basically making sexual remarks to a minor.
Yeah, she was making sexual remarks to a minor. So she wasn't banned by Ethan Trace or canceled by Ethan Trace.
Got exposed, more or less.
Yeah, she got exposed by my boy Ethan, though.
Yeah.
And so, so she went to YouTube. Cool, you go to YouTube. There's not as much censorship on there, but the chance of monetization when you're doing what she's doing is very low. She has been talking about racial things, I guess you could say.
She spelled out the N-word with the hard R on a piece of paper and made a whole video about it.
And made a whole video acronyming
Yeah.
the word.
Yeah.
And then she had a doll that depicted a African American.
It was a black girl.
It was a black girl. And it's just she's posting all these
It was
racially
so weird, bro. It
It's
was
just-
creepy a little bit.
she's-
She's like, look at this girl. She's so beautiful. I'm
she's
like,
posting all these racially insensitive things, racist things. Somehow, I don't know how YouTube hasn't taken her down yet. Everyone is trying to get her banned. She's just posting all these things. She said, verbatim, this is what she said. She said that if she had a black kid or knew a black kid, a black niece, nephew, or whatever, I don't know who would want to
somehow
breed.
down the family.
I don't know who would
Yeah.
want to breed with that lady at all or anything. But she said that if she had a black kid, she would tell them to go in the mirror and proudly call themselves the N-word.
Take back the word.
Take back the word.
Call
Take
yourself
back
a
the
derogatory
power.
slur.
It's like no one
What?
wants to be called the N-word, especially with a hard R.
No,
Like,
yeah.
it's not okay. And I guarantee next episode I might actually pull in some videos from what she's been posting, but I have to go through her YouTube videos because they're like an hour long.
She turned her likes and dislikes off, so like you can't see how many dislikes or likes she's getting, but you know.
because she's getting ratioed.
Yeah, you
She
know
is
she's getting.
psychotic, dude.
Oh my goodness.
It's like, I don't know. There's people like that make me lose brain cells. And it's like, she's the type of person, you ask them how many chromosomes they have, and she says more than you. I don't know what to say. She is stupid, idiotic, racist, now that we know. And Ethan Trace, I'm happy that you canceled her.
Thank God.
Thank you. And she made another TikTok account. I don't know how long that's going to be.
That's not going to be up for long at all.
Because, hell, Ethan's got what, like 3 million followers?
Verified. That boy verified.
Yeah. He will get that shit taken down so quick.
yeah.
But
Well-
that's what I had to say. Because I cannot stand her. Oh
No,
my
not
God.
at all, bro. Look, I have no problem with vegans that are just chill, but they don't ever like. It's just never. They're never chill for some reason, and it makes it's annoying.
If you want to be vegan, cool. I respect you not wanting to eat animal meat because you don't like it or whatnot. Or one time maybe a steak might have made you sick and you just haven't done it since then. Shoving it down another person's throat is like, what the, like, why is that? You have bigger problems in the world than people eating animals. And then, especially the vegan teacher made the correlation to the Bible. She talked about Jesus. I'm like, dude, Jesus ate meat.
Yeah.
It's oh my God. I cannot stand her. I mean, like,
that'll definitely be on next episode.
70-something-year-old with the body of an iPhone talking about eating meat.
With that being said, man, we're super happy with this. And we know it's a longer episode. We appreciate y'all, man. Like I said, uploading schedules Wednesday and Fridays as of right now. Probably will change if this starts to go the way we want it to go. We'll be uploading more. We will be bringing guests onto the show at some point. We're just trying to get established first. You know what I mean? Simple stuff.
It's going well with TikTok. We're at probably almost 8,000 followers in a matter of 48 hours.
Comment below if you're on YouTube who you would like to see on the show. We'll try our best. But with that being said, like I said, only 65% of the viewers are actually subscribed. Come on, man. Help us out here.
When I post on my story saying, hey, go watch the video, we appreciate you watching the video. You got to subscribe too.
Hey, if you don't subscribe and you have a cat or dog, it's fine. You know, I'm just going to send Tristan to go eat it. All right, it's simple. But with that all out of the way, man, we appreciate y'all and y'all support. We love making these. We love doing this. We hope y'all do too. Pretty soon, I'm thinking about transitioning to doing a live show with this too. So this will be live, and then we'll post.
We're
it
having
too.
a lot more fun with this than we thought we were.
Yeah,
we were going to.
Make sure you follow us on all our socials, man. Leave a like, dislike if you're one of those people. A comment. Share it with your auntie, uncle, your dog's neighbor, and your dead cousin if they have Wi-Fi or if they voted for Joe Biden. They're probably still out there.
I was about to say they were able to vote.
But with that all the way, man, we appreciate y'all. We'll catch y'all on the next one. It's been fun. I'm Fatty. This is Redboy. We'll see y'all on the next one.